Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs, and today we've got a couple topics that we need to talk about in regards to the refinery and auction house. One thing we need to address is something that I think is a huge misstep by IGG, something that they may have missed that we're going to bring notice to first. Now, before we do, smash the like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and fill out the notification bell. Those 4 things cost you nothing but help me immensely. So if you can go do those 4 things, that'd be greatly appreciated. We want to get this information out to as many people as possible because it turns out when you entrust someone with your account, they have the capability to sell your equipment in the auction house. That's right, you heard it here first. You can sell your equipment at the auction house if you are entrusted. As an entrusted individual, you can sell their equipment on the auction house. And I've got a video here. Let's jump right into it. I'll show you real quickly. I was entrusted into a friend of mine's account, into Pixel's account, and we did this, and it cost her 10 gold. So, of course, I owe her 10 gold. My point is, as an entrusted individual, I should not be able to sell equipment. And yet, as you'll see, I'm able to sell that equipment. So take a look, and like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel. Let's get this out to everybody. Fill out that notification bell so you get new drops when we drop new content. And let's take a look at this upcoming, let's take a look at this, I will call it a bug first. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just bringing you up here as we've gone across to this other account. As you can see, I am currently entrusted. So I'm not actually, this is not actually my account. I am entrusted for somebody else currently, okay? So I am entrusted on their account. Let's take a look at something that I think is absolutely ridiculous. I can go into here. I can go into the auction house. I can go into here and check this. I can sell her equipment. I can sell it. I can sell her equipment. Look at this. I can sell her equipment. It's not even mine. I can sell her equipment. Do you see this? I'm entrusted, and I can sell her equipment. It's not even my account. I can sell her equipment. This is broken. This is bad. IGG, you need to address this. You need to address this quickly. Now, with that being said, guys, and after we've seen what we've been able to do with that, let's just be super careful who you entrust your accounts to. Do not just entrust them to anybody because like it showed, anybody can sell your equipment, which means that theoretically they could sell it to themselves for very cheap. Yes, and I know it involves having to search for it and waiting for it to get listed and blah, 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 and they, getting through their loopholes. But there are ways to sell it to yourself, so you need to be careful when entrusting to anyone. And be careful because that entrustment can be taken away, not taken away, sorry, they can sell your equipment in the auction house. So let's keep that in mind, okay? But what this video is actually going to be about is all about the refinery. It's been here for 1 week now, and in that week, we've had the chance to be able to plunder, we've had the chance to be able to forge, we've had the chance to be able to get up, to get the refinery up. I'm currently level 3, so we're providing 11 daily ores and a higher base production and a higher warehouse capacity. The refining contest has come back again this week, so it appears to be a weekly thing. Obviously, you still have your refinement privilege pass, which is there as well. And so there's lots of stuff that we can kind of dive into and how the refinery works and a little bit more detail on how the market works, how the auction house works. Because a lot of people are asking, well, how do we end up selling that stuff and how do we end up, what do we end up selling it for? So in this video, we're going to dive deeper into that and kind of take a look at how we can use the auction house to our advantage and hopefully get some whales to spend a little bit of gold and help us know players when we're lucky enough to get good draws. Okay, so first and foremost, let's jump into it here. Let's take a look at what the game has to offer. Okay, and let's take a look at what's available. Now, as it stands currently, I have some things refining because I have the auto function set up. So as soon as that happens, and of course the auto function you have to be online for the auto function to work, but it's going to use your ores and it's going to send those ores out. Now, what I've noticed is that you cannot raid someone, right? You cannot plunder someone unless their stuff is complete, okay? Unless their things are completed, right? So if you come here, for example, this guy has this spot already completed. If we go here, for example, let's see if we can find one where it's not completed, where they don't have them all done. Just give me a second. Normally we can find one pretty quickly because there'll always be one or two that have the timer still going. But these guys are still, you know, they haven't collected it yet. But what you'll also find here when you're going through it, you'll find some that say can be rated and some that say can't be rated. And there's a timer on those ones that typically can't be rated. And what that simply means is they're still refining it. So you can't actually do it until they've gone and completed it. And see right here, can't raid. We can't raid this right now, number one, because it's only 70 left. And they can only be rated 3 times per slot. But number two, there could also be timer on it. That was just a minimum raid limit, so that's fine, right? We can't raid those ones because they're already been raided the max amount of times. So if you want to protect your resources, if you want to protect your badges, make sure that you're there when they're complete to bring them home so that they're not sitting in a state where they can be raided, where then someone can come like me and hopefully steal these, even though I'm probably going to lose. Oh, nice. We won that one. So that's good. Let's go ahead and raid a second one here from him. Because he's got 2 legendaries and we beat him once, so we might as well keep it up and see if we can get a second one. Okay. Now, I did notice something here as well. I want to show y'all. If you come over here, let's go find just a different alliance. Let's go look at AVGS. I just have to find their node right here. You'll notice something. You see this little hand. Okay, so if I click here, you'll see this little hand on these shelters. This means that they have things that can be raided. And I can go in here and raid these ones now. And obviously this guy's a lot smaller. Granted, if I go and do that, right, this guy's only 130. If I come in here and raid this, I get a debuff for raiding him. But I can go in and raid weaker players based on seeing this little notification on their account or on their shelter. Okay, so if you want to find different targets or easier targets, you could just scope different regions and find players that are ready to go. And you can see that they are ready to be raided because they have that little hand above their situation. Okay, so again, just a couple of quick tips when it comes to refining, make sure that you're always here when they're done or within that 15 minutes. If you have it on auto, make sure that you're within that 15 minutes so that you can bring it home without letting it sit there. Because if you let it sit there, that's when it can get raided. And if you don't have auto on, well, it can sit there for hours and hours and hours until you collect it, only giving you more capability to have it raided. So make sure that you're very cognizant and aware because these fire-forged alloys are super, super, super important. Okay? But that's really what it comes down to. Now, there are a couple of things everyone's been asking, where do I get cores from? Well, here's your main situation. You're going to get 11 of these cores or 10 cores, depending on the level of your refinery, or 12, depending on the level of your refinery. You'll get 11 of those that happen every single day, and they're added into your account every single day. You also have the capability of buying 5 rare ores every day at a total of 50 gold apiece. So for 250 gold a day, you can also get 5 rare ores. And rare ores also give you the capability to forge legendary fire-forged alloy. And then obviously you get your 3 precious ores from your monthly refinement privilege pass. Okay, and this is why I'm going to say that it's for $5. It's definitely worth it because, like I said, you're for $5 for the month. You're getting effectively 90 of these cores, which is the potential for a bunch of equipment, which you'll see is quite expensive and quite has the potential to be quite lucrative. Okay, so that's really what it's going to come down for the refinery. You're going to have that go through and you're going to refine those, and you can save that as much as you want. You can use it as much as you want. In my opinion, I like to use these ones here and these ones here on legendaries or elite alloy. Let the blues and green alloy refine on its own time. Just make sure that you're either back to collect it or that you have the auto function so that it'll automatically collect back. Okay, but that's really what it comes down to, the refinery. What you use the refinery for is obviously to create and forge the equipment, right? We're going to smith out some equipment based on what we're allowed to do. Now, people have asked me, what's the difference with your job? What's the max level? Blah, blah, blah. Truth is, I don't think it matters, okay? You can switch earlier than once a month for an additional 3,000 gems. But if I were you, like, for example, for 3,000 gems, you can go ahead and switch that earlier, or you can do it once a month. If I were you, I would simply just go ahead and work on one in a month, unless you're a whale and you're looking to fill out all of your spots as quick as you can. For me, it'll take 4 months, but by the end of it, I should have some pretty good stuff. Because if you do look at it, I do have some things. I did buy this one here, I think for about 300 gold, because it does have 2 infantry squad slots. So I've got infantry squad attack and infantry squad defense. And I've gone and leveled it up using some of those things by an extra 10% to give me that extra squad basic attack damage and the skill damage taken by troops. Right, so that's kind of a step. Once I level up the infantry squad attack and defense, I'll be able to get more might on it from there. If you look here, for example, I've got squad basic attack damage and infantry squad defense. This is something I can also get rid of as I need to. Not really great, but it's the best options that I have. And then obviously you got something like some squad attack and squad HP on your short barreled SMG. But here's the honest to God truth, guys. Most of this is going to be irrelevant for a lot of players, especially as you're working it out, unless you're spending excessive amounts. And I'll show you what I mean by excessive amounts. If we go into here and we go into the auction house and we click the daily equipment report, look at this. Someone yesterday spent 288,000 gold at the auction house yesterday. That's almost 3,000 US American dollars that was spent inside the place. So absolutely there is money to be made inside the auction house. Okay. It all depends on what you're lucky enough to forge. Now that's going to come down to what your forging percentages is based on what your job is. Okay, and the higher your proficiency, the higher your percentage. If I just look over here and if I use this here to try to build this, it's only going to give me a 10%. But if I go to my job that I'm at right now with my proficiency, it gives me a 22.8%. Okay, and this is what you're going to forge, go from here. And of course, I only get a purple and it's got nothing. So something like this, I'm probably just going to get rid of. And if you'll notice, I don't have very much in here because truth is, it's not really great. Yes, I can go ahead and equip this onto my... I could equip this onto my riders if I wanted, right? I could absolutely go ahead and equip this onto my riders here. But again, I'm not a rider main. I'm not using my riders in the field. They're only being used to add to rallies and garrisons, so that's not really a good use of might. It's just going to inflate it. My focus is my infantry. And until my infantry is flushed out, what do I care about riders? I might as well break them down so I can use them to better my infantry. And again, this is just another metric. You don't want to focus on everything because that's going to cost you a ton. What you need to focus on is one set at a time. Right? So I go into my bag and I'm going to go ahead and dismantle this. And I dismantle a ton of stuff because here's the thing. First and foremost, the blues and greens, you're almost going to dismantle every single time. The only reason I haven't dismantled this one is because it's 1.5% food gathering speed, so I'm getting a little bit. But ideally, I'm going to dismantle that as soon as I have something else. And I'm not even going to put them, I wouldn't normally put them anywhere else except the fact that I'm getting a 19.5. So any extra speed that I can get to farming, I'm cleaning nodes in like an hour and a half right now. Right? So the concept is what you're going to be lucky enough to forge, and that's going to come down to what your percentage is. So I always say stick within your job because that's going to give you your highest percentage chance to forge legendaries. Legendaries are going to be what you're going to be building and focusing on because unfortunately when it comes to everything else, there's really only a couple ways to enhance them. You can obviously use the enhancement materials, which is what you get from dismantling things. But as you can see, it gets fairly expensive fairly quickly. And level 10 isn't even the highest. It's going to go a lot higher than that. I'm not even sure what the highest level is. But outside of leveling it up this way, the only other opportunity is to smelt it. But in order to smelt it, folks, let's read this. Only squad equipment of the same grade and part as the original equipment can be used for smelting. And it must have at least one specialized attribute of the same type with a higher value. So in order for me to upgrade... For example, if I want to upgrade my low light night vision goggles, if I wanted to upgrade my infantry squad defense or my infantry squad attack, I would need a legendary helmet with a higher attack or defense stat on it. And then what I would do is I would smelt that using that higher hone value, and it will spit out a random hone between this percentage and the one that you get on your next one. Okay? So like if I was to, for example, go over here, and I'll tell you what I mean. If I was to go over here into the auction house, and if I was to look for a helmet, and I was to look for here, and I wanted infantry squad attack and infantry squad defense. That's what I'm looking for, right? Because that's what I want to upgrade. I could go with something here, 5.1% infantry squad attack on the helmet. But then I would sacrifice this helmet onto my other helmet, right? Onto my other helmet in the smelting function. If I was to purchase that, I would then go over here in your bag, click manage, click smelt, and I would click infantry squad attack. I would use that other helmet, which was a 5.1%, and then it would spit out a random hone between 2.1 and 5.1. And it would give me a random hone between that. Okay. Now, if it was a lucky helmet that you're using to smelt, I believe, okay, lucky here is this one, improves smelting effect. So I believe if you use that one to smelt, it'll give out a higher value. Either that, or it goes the other way, where if you use something to smelt on that one, it will produce a higher one. It's going to be one or the other. I personally believe it'll be attached to when it's smelted, because that gives it less value, and anything that IGG can use to devalue the system is probably going to be what they go for. Okay? So, again, in that situation, you're going to sacrifice that top equipment, right? You're going to sacrifice another helmet with a higher value in order to upgrade this one. This is why your first main one, you need 2 or 3 specific hones. Because every time you forge, because here's the thing. Every time you forge, okay, every time you smith, it's going to spit out your forge, your one of these two, all right, one of these sets, whether it's elite, rare, or legendary. And then it's going to spit out 3 of these hones at random, 3 of these values at random. Okay? And you could possibly get, because I've seen, actually, I don't even know. I'm not going to say whether that's true or not. I'm not sure whether you can get all 3 of the same one. I haven't seen any. But, like, there's nothing to me that says that you couldn't get 3 infantry squad attacks spit out at the same time. Because I've seen ones with 2 infantry squad attack and, like, an infantry squad defense. I've seen that. I've seen 2 infantry squad damage and a damage reduction. I've seen those, right? So you might even be able to get 3 if you're super, super lucky. But then people ask, well, what are the ones, the values that you want? Well, attack and defense is good, but here's the ones that you really want. Squad damage, and squad damage reduction. And that's simply because of how the calculation is done. Because of how the calculation is done, squad damage and squad damage reduction are effectively multiplications versus simply squad attack and squad defense, which is more, or infantry squad attack, infantry squad defense, which is more additive. Okay? So you'd be looking for infantry squad damage, infantry squad damage reduction, and maybe even squad counter damage. Because look at that, 10.5% squad counter damage or 10.5% basic attack damage is pretty good. Those are pretty good values that you can get spit out onto these equipments. Okay? But they're going to be expensive if you're not lucky. That's why I'm going to mention, in the Refinery, not only is this $5 pack worth it, because you do end up getting 60 of these bad boys and 24 of these bad boys, but your monthly $5 privilege pack is going to be great because you get 90 of these bad boys, and those are what's going to give you those legendary draws. And unfortunately, with how bad the auction house is, and you can see this, right? Range Gathering Rider. Look at the next one. Range. Look at this one. Infantry Ranged Gathering, right? So unless you're looking at these max ones here where you have range squad defense, right? And squad's basic attack damage. So you're getting 3 stats for 80,000 gold, right? 3 stats for 80,000 gold. So that's not bad, but 80,000 gold, right? And we're going to talk about the auction house in a second because I'm trying to sell some stuff, and you'll see how there's kind of a market for it, and you can kind of justify where you price your things. Because that's also a big question. How do I price my stuff? Well, the truth is, in my opinion, you price it for what the auction house is dictating. You price it for what people have it at the average or close to the average or undercutting if you want. There's lots of different strategies. But let's look at the auction house, okay? So first and foremost, the auction house is a little bit broken because you can only use unlinked gold to buy things from the auction house, okay? You cannot use the gold that you get from selling things in the auction house to buy things from the auction house. You need to spend money on gold, right, on unlinked gold from the gold mall first in order to buy stuff from here. So here's my first opinion that says this is only going to be available to monsters or to whales. It will not be used very much by in fact, it relies on the whales being the ones to buy because we cannot use linked gold. We have to use unlinked gold. However, when you're using the unlinked gold, right, when you're using linked gold, you can use linked gold to list something, okay? So I can still use my linked gold to list something, right? I just can't use it to buy things, which is kind of a whole ridiculous sentiment. If I can't buy the things by using the gold that I'm using or that I'm earning by grinding and forging and selling, then what's the purpose? Only to return it and put it back into the account. But I want better equipment, which I need to spend money on in order to do, which already is kind of a backwards notion. Okay. But as you can see, like I'll go into here, as you can see, I have made a little bit, right? I have sold a couple of things, have turned a little bit of a profit, not much, but it's all depending on what you're lucky enough to forge. And that's going to come down to obviously your job and what grade of alloys you're forging and all that kind of stuff, okay? But it really comes down to looking at the auction house and determining what it is that you want to sell and what it is that other people are looking for. So for example, I currently have a fragmentation grenade. Now you're going to look at this and go, holy crap, that might is really high by comparison. And that's because I have an infantry squad damage at 4%. Okay, so I have an almost close to max infantry squad damage. I also have a rider squad damage reduction. Okay, so that's also increasing the might. But because I have those two hones, they're valuable hones, we are obviously going to go ahead and list this. But now the question is, well, how much do I list it for? So here's my advice. Go into the auction house, go into the filter, put in the piece that you have, the legendary set that you have, the attribute grade that you have, and what you have that it's there. So I have a grenade, a legendary infantry squad hone. I'm going to filter for it. And right now, if we look at the price down, we've got one that's sit there for 30,000. Okay. And it's only got an infantry squad damage at 3.3. So mine's higher than that. So technically I should post it for higher than that. But then we have another one here that has a 3.5 and he only has it for 10,000. Okay, so that one, he's kind of undercutting a little bit. But then we have another guy comes in here with an infantry squad damage at 3.6 and a rider squad attack at 3.9, and he's coming in at 10,000. So you kind of just place it within here, put it up for a certain amount, and let it sit for a couple of days. If it sells, great. If it doesn't, bring it back, knock off some money, or knock off some gold and relist it. You've got a bunch. I can list this 3 more times, or 2 more times after this, right? Trading attempts 3 times, and I think this is the second time that I've put this up, right? So I might be able to do 1 more or 2 more out of this before I have to either use it or smelt it into something that I can work with. So there's lots of potential. Now you'll see a lot of people who are going to sell them for a lot cheaper, but in the same aspect, if you look at the price, a lot of these prices can go upwards of, like, here's a 4% rider squad damage, at 10,000. Well, a friend of mine already sold one for 20,000 a couple days ago at a less value than what I've placed. So here's the thing. The auction house is so lucrative right now. You really just have to play the game. Like I said, go into your auction house, go into your filter, pick what you want to filter out, right? And then make a justification and place it from there. I've got the highest infantry squad damage currently, and it's not even the most expensive one. So to me, that means that it's priced pretty well. I haven't sold it yet, but I have sold some other ones that were within that same type of thing. This one here, I probably got a little bit, I undercut this one because I didn't know about it. Rider Squad 4.1, Rider Squad, or Infantry Squad 3.7, Infantry Squad Attack. These were all kind of sold early, right? All within that second day. So I didn't know what they were worth. But you can go ahead and turn a decent profit by not necessarily gaming the system, but just watching out for what things are. Now, what I also suggest is going in here, if you do have some unlinked gold, going in here and actually checking out some of these cheap priced items for things that people aren't paying attention to. You'll find some that have 2 or 3 sets for cheap, 200-300 gold, right? And those are good to start from. You start from there and that gives you something to build up from, right? You kind of have to go through here, infantry squad defense, rider squad attack, infantry squad, load squad, gathering speed. So this isn't bad for squad load and gathering speed. You could pick that up for 200 gold and put it on your gatherers. Right? There's potential there. But the whole concept is that you basically just, and this is why I said in my last video, that this now basically means that you're not going to put your phone down again. Because all that you're going to be doing in all of your time now is focusing on the auction house, looking for good trades, looking for good deals. You can even, if you really wanted to, you can buy them from there for cheap, turn around and sell them on there for a lot more, right? It just takes 3 days of cooldown, right? From when you buy something to when you can sell it, there's a 3-day cooldown, okay? So it becomes a situation where there's nothing wrong with buying them cheap and then selling them more expensive. That's part of the market. And if you're good at that, there's coin to be made, right? Like I said, I made, pardon me, $4,200, 4,200 gold, sorry, just by selling stuff that I wasn't using or what I was lucky enough to create. And the more that you're lucky, right? That's why these things are important to get for your refining and stuff, right? That's why your refining contest and your refining privilege pass are important for getting your precious ore. But it's the same type of process. So as long as you keep that mentality up, there's a lot of value to be made from the auction house. My biggest hindrance, like we've mentioned, is that people who are entrusted can sell your equipment. Typically the only people, and right now the only people that are buying stuff are whales, because you have to have unlinked gold. And truth be told, the amount of separation now between the pays, like the whales and the not haves and the free-to-plays, is just growing astronomical. So it's just, in my opinion, a horrible addition. It's them reacting to the imbalanced beasts. I've even had some people telling me that things are getting changed, like numbers have been changed recently and modded and not been increased and not been informed us about in regards to beasts, because beasts seem to be hitting a little bit differently. I haven't done any research into that yet. That might come for a future video. All I'm saying is that it seems like they've realized some things are not the way that they want them to be, and they're trying to address in that way. But with all that being said, guys, I hope this has made the refinery a little bit cleaner for you, a little bit clearer, right? Keep your plunders up. Make sure that you're consistently getting out there and getting all of that, all of your fire-forged armors and fire-forged allies, because those really are important in order to create good, strong equipment sets, okay? But other than that, like I said, just keep out for entrustment. Watch out for that. Keep forging. Keep grinding. Keep growing strong. Playing smart. All that kind of stuff. Love, peace, chicken grease. And until next time, stay lifted. 3, 2, 1, let's go.